Hi, Aslo Recaps here. Today I'm going to explain science fiction monster film called Pacific Rim: Uprising. Before we get started, I challenge you. You have to click on subscribe and activate notification in less than 5 seconds. You got it? Alright, click the like button too and let's get started. Jake Pentecost, the son of Stacker Pentecost, a former Jaeger pilot, makes a living by stealing and selling Jaeger parts on the black market in Santa Monica, California, in 2035, 10 years after the Battle of the Breach, in which the portal built by the precursors through which they sent kaiju was shut. Both are captured by the Pan-Pacific Defense Corps, PPDC, after a fight between Amara's small, single-pilot Jaeger Scrapper and the law enforcement Jaeger November Ajax, which he tracked part of a disabled Jaeger's power core to. Mako Mori, a Japanese senator and the adopted sister of Jake, convinces him to hire Amara as an instructor at PPDC in order to escape going to jail. After arriving at the China Shatterdome, Jake begins instructing Jaeger cadets with Nathan "Nate" Lambert, his estranged former co-pilot. The Shao Corporation's new drone program, which proposes to mass-produce Jaeger drones created by Liwen Shao and Dr. Newt Geisler, poses a threat to the Jaeger program, according to Nate and Mako. After a battle with Obsidian Fury and Gypsy Avenger, Jake and Nate's Jaegers, Mako, who was scheduled to present a final assessment to determine the approval of the drones at a PPDC council meeting in Sydney, is inadvertently murdered. The PPDC council decides to launch the drones right away after learning of her passing. Before backup Jaegers can catch it, Obsidian Fury flees into the water. Mako had sent the location of a shut-down Jaeger production site in Siberia just before she passed away. Gypsy Avenger takes Jake and Nate there, but Obsidian Fury destroys the building and confronts them in combat. Despite having the upper hand at first, Gypsy Avenger is able to defeat the Jaeger. They discover that Obsidian Fury was controlled by a kaiju's secondary brain, which tests reveal was developed on Earth, after removing its reactor, rather than by humans. When the drones arrive at their designated places, cloned kaiju brains mounted covertly on board take control of their piloting functions. The kaiju Jaeger hybrids strike each Shatterdome at once, killing a significant number of Jaegers and injuring many more. Dr. Hermann Gottlieb and Newt attempt to take down the drones, but when he orders the kaiju Jaeger hybrids to launch many breaches throughout the Pacific Rim, the latter realizes that the former is responsible for the attack. Newt's consciousness has been taken over by the precursors, who connected with him and Hermann as they drifted with kaiju brains, and he now knows that he implanted the brains in the drones to make sure the precursors' plan would succeed. 3 creatures, Hakuja, Shrikethorn, and Raijin, had already emerged and had arrived in Tokyo despite Liwen's ability to destroy the drones and seal the gaps. The group understands that the precursors' true objective is to use the blood of the kaijus to ignite Mount Fuji, which would set off the eruptions of all the volcanoes in the Ring of Fire, destroying all life on Earth and terraforming the planet for precursor settlement. The cadets are organized as Hermann and Liwen fix the 4 Jaegers that can still be used from the PPDC. Hermann then creates rockets that are propelled by kaiju blood that take the crew to Tokyo. The 3 kaiju are first repelled by the Jaegers, including Gypsy Avenger, but Newt eventually combines them into a mega kaiju utilizing parasitic robotics from one of Liwen's factories. The sole remaining Jaeger is Gypsy Avenger after the destruction of 3 of the 4. In place of the injured Nate, Jake and Amara pilot the Jaeger against the mega kaiju with Liwen controlling Scrapper remotely. Liwen assists them by finding a rocket and welding it to Gypsy, which sends the Jaeger into the atmosphere and causes it to fall back to Earth. The mega kaiju is fatally struck and killed at the last second. Jake and Amara survive by transferring to Scrapper. Newt tries to start a plan B after being furious that the mega kaiju was killed, but he is knocked out and taken captive by Nate. When Jake and Newt later speak, Newt informs Jake that the precursor is coming again. The oncoming conflict, according to Jake, is being prepared for by humanity. And that was how the movie ended.